But I'm going to use these flashcards because if I didn't, I'd ramble up on here until I got to the aquatic ape theory. So, I'm JB. I'm 17, my senior year at Valencia High School. I have 2 teachers for parents. One teaches economics, one teaches language arts. I'm an actor, a lacrosse player, a nerd, a drawer, a builder, a painter, a geek, a runner, a video gamer, a coder, a mentor to some, a student to others. I have anxiety, I have depression, and I have ADHD. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Attention deficit meaning it's very hard for me to pay attention. So don't expect me to without therapy, heavy medication, or at least my morning coffee. Hyperactive meaning I'm that annoying kid in your class who keeps banging his feet and tapping his pencil because he can't seem to sit still when he's bored. And disorder meaning it's up here. It's not made up. Nobody just diagnosed me for no reason. It's in my genetic code. My mother has it, my sister has ADD, and I have ADHD. Now, you just got to experience what I experience every day, except replace this slide with all the thoughts clattering around my brain and replace me with my teacher. I'm also going to preface this with you can never truly know what it feels like to have ADHD. I just tried my best to give you an experience for it because I wanted to do a TED Talk on ADHD. I'm one of many faces of ADHD. And I'm going to start with some facts, statistics, and numbers to try to paint you a good enough picture of how ADHD works and how many are affected. About 1 to 3 in every class of kids has ADHD. And about a crowd like this, about 10 of you would. But when we get into our teens, you start to notice some different things. You see, 21% skip school repeatedly. 35% drop out entirely. But 45% get suspended. And 30% have failed or had to repeat a year of school. The thing is, none of these kids were getting the help they need nor deserve, because our school systems like to treat ADHD as if it's something that can be cured just by telling my teachers that he'll get his work done eventually. But the thing is, 11% of children ages 4 to 17 have ADHD, and those kids do need help, because those kids are also more likely to experience medical problems, but are also 10 times as likely to suffer a complication in relationships or friendships. But was more shaking was because I have ADHD, I'm 3 times as likely to suffer from depression, and 10% more likely to attempt at suicide. But what I found was shaking to my core was because I have ADHD. My parents are 7% more likely to attempt at suicide just because I have ADHD. But why am I telling you all this? Why does it matter? And where am I going with all these depressing thoughts? Well, I'll tell you. It's because I need to engage. We need to engage. And you need to help us and let us engage. But nobody was there to help me, so I had to do it on my own. I engage in my school on 3 different fronts. It's apparently not there, but okay. I engage in 3 different fronts: acting, art, and sports. Lacrosse, drawing, and Shakespeare. I do love Shakespeare. Everybody does. Though you did sleep through it, through your high school classes, and maybe even your college classes. It was because Shakespeare is amazing. Getting to be another character on stage who doesn't have the expectations, limitations, or liabilities that you yourself do is an amazing experience that I love and enjoy, and it is my true and undying passion. But once again, acting is great for a person with ADHD. Being able to memorize blocking, memorize my lines, and make sure there's emotion behind those words definitely is great for a person with ADHD that is great at multitasking. And I can never stress how much I love acting. But I also love art, drawing to be more specific. I love to draw because it helps me get out the words that often escape me due to bouncing thoughts, and get out emotions that I often can't express through my own words. And I can't draw a straight line to save my life because of my ADHD. I often move and shake in unexplainable ways. But because of it, I often use it in my art to make it look great. and often make it look like it can catch your eye and be able to stare at it with often complexing thoughts. But I also utilize ADHD in my sports, lacrosse, because lacrosse is just a great sport for ADHD because you have to run around with a rubber ball in a net on a stick, then go after guys who also have those sticks, and sometimes longer ones, which can be 8 feet tall, and then try to get into the goal or pass it to another player. That is multitasking heaven, and I enjoy it and love it so much. But sadly, this year I wasn't able to partake in it because I chose college. My academic was definitely a lot better than trying to be out on the field. But in any of these things, I refuse to let ADHD hinder me in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I let it amp me up, get me farther throughout all these activities. But still, I'm only one of 6.4 million children that have ADHD. But I'm about to join in 2 months the 8 million adults that also have ADHD. Because the lie that was often told in media that you just grow out of ADHD is completely untrue. 60% of kids carry it with them to adulthood. But I choose to stand before you today to be a positive force, a force of good that's trying to change of how you view ADHD. And I want to urge you to see this not as my disability that the government has labeled me with, but instead something that doesn't need a cure, something that was given to me by my ancestors from when we had to hunt to survive, that ADHD was something good, and still is. That is the very fuel inside me that gets me through my day, and gets many others through theirs. Because the misconceptions about us being bad, or disruptive, or destructive, or stupid, are just because those with beautiful minds, like you, who have wild and untrainable thoughts, often forget that we do too. We just have thoughts that are unexplainable and uninhibited by expectations from others because we don't see them. ADHD is a term that I've been labeled with for 17 years, but has given me amazing perspective of things and has given me energy to do things that I know if I didn't have it, I would have been fearful. But I walked in here to truly try to change what you see. Because I am unstoppable. We are unstoppable. And in closing, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. Many of you walked in here today with a general idea of how ADHD works, what it does, how many are affected. And I hope I changed that. Thank you.